Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here from Marathon Nation with another weekly coaches video. I've been away for a while ever since I hit Marine Corps Marathon. I've just been slammed with work. So many people signing up for the site, hitting me with messages. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to meet so many of you in person, and I hope to continue to do that for the rest of 2010 and into 2011. Lots of cool stuff going on behind the scenes here at Marathon Nation. But here's the stuff that I've got for you. So everyone's racing or has raced their fall marathon right now. And whether you've trained with us or you've trained on your own, you just watch this, you've had a race, right? You went out there with a plan, you had the plan, but you had a race. Sometimes they don't sync up. Sometimes they go parallel, sometimes it's cross, sometimes it's just a, speeding car, getaway chase into a fruit stand. Whatever it may be for you, it's important that you capture what happened in that race objectively so you can use that information moving forward. One of my biggest pet peeves in working with athletes is that, and I suffer from this myself, so it's also internally directed, I'm not mad at you per se, is that people do a race like a marathon, which is such a big day, and there's so many things that go into it, and there's, even though it's just 26.2 miles, there's so many highs and lows, and you walk away from it with this, this feeling, this story that you've built across your race. And the story is crafted as you go. So as things start to go better or worse, you start to fill in the blanks as you go, right? Just kind of making sure, like, wow, I don't feel good right now because I think I just did that. I feel great here. I think it's because, we just changed our cadence. I'm going really slow over here. I think it's because of that headwind. So you're filling in those little blanks as you go. And as you finish the race and start to process in the next 24 hours, as you start telling other people about your story, the people who care, you will start to take those little elements of your story and they start to become reality, right? Whether or not they were real, whether or not there really was a headwind, if you say there was, and you say it enough times and you hear other people saying there was, by the time you finish, there was this horrible headwind. And what's really important is that information, while a great story and a huge part of the character that makes us a runner, is the problem with that is that you can't objectively do anything with it. If you got screwed because somebody cut you off and they bumped into you and they hurt your leg and then you had a bad piece of running from mile 5 to mile 8, for example, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fix it. You can just write down in your next race plan, don't get bumped in the knee, but that's really not so helpful. So instead, I really encourage you to look into the objective elements of your race. And if you haven't done so already, what you're going to want to do is take your race and break it down by mile. Literally, split by split by split. You want to lay that all out across 26.2 miles. And then you want to analyze those mile splits against the elevation. So obviously as the elevation went up, your pace is going to drop, and the vice versa is also true. What we're looking for here in terms of execution is how well your pace was sustained from mile 6 until mile 26, those last 20 miles. So that's really where the race happens, right? You got a time at 26.2, but the race really starts at mile 6 after a smart warm-up. And I'm really interested in how your pace was sustained across the 20 miles from 6 to 26, okay? Because what I find is that most athletes, they start too fast, they kind of get a little crazy, zigzagging around, and by the time they hit mile 6, they've settled into a rhythm. So we're into a rhythm, crowds have dissipated as much as they're going to, you're in a rhythm. And then over the course of those next 20 miles, things happen, wind, hills, nutrition, etc., and your pace starts to vary. So you go ahead and identify those per mile paces, and then you go in and you start making notes based against those per mile paces. So mile 13, really slowed down, and your note might be, wow, you know what, I think I forgot my nutrition there, or whoa, we really hit a big hill there, etc. So you write the character-filled elements of your story into that objective document that is your analysis, mile by mile by mile. When you walk away from that, you can actually look at it and say, wow, across 26.2 miles, I ran 4 hours. My average pace was 9-minute miles, but you can see in the first couple miles, I really overachieved. And then the next 10 miles, I really slowed down because there was winds. I actually took in some more food, it was cooler, and I was able to redeem myself later in the day. You can take that information in those splits and you can use those going forward to say, how do I want to improve upon this execution for my next race? Because there's actual splits, there's elevation, and then the character of what you experienced on the day is literally filled into that objective race sheet. That's what's critical. Coming away from your race with a great story and some really cool information. Man, this light's really starting to bug me. The sun sets so fast these days. What's up with that, right? Coming away with that kind of race information is critical because you need something you can objectively work with moving forward. If you just feel bad or you felt good or you were happy with the race, which is important, I'm not taking away from that, there's very little you can do as an athlete trying to improve the next go-round. So, as you start to process your recent race, please, please, please take the time to break down your race into 26 mile splits. Take the little 0.2 off the end, do the mile splits on that, line that up against the elevation, and then fill in the character nature of your run against that objective data. And then you can make some clear assessments about what you think you can do to improve next time. I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple of files from our athletes who've raced this fall. I'm going to ask them their permission and then go through this process and kind of explain what it looks like, and I'll be happy to present that to you guys in a future video. In the meantime, best of luck with your races. I hope you have a ton of fun, and I hope you're ready to spend the 5 minutes it takes to objectively assess it so that next year, when you're really ready to rock the house, you'll have exactly what it is, you know exactly what it is you'll need to do to have the race that you want. All right? Best of luck to you guys. This is Coach Patrick signing off in a slightly too bright kitchen here in Boston, Massachusetts. Take care, folks.